Hey, what's up, guys? This is Brian at Whisper Status 74. Welcome to the community. Welcome to the channel. Today's video will be an unboxing and first impressions of my brand new 83-inch LG C1. But I can already tell you, it is amazing, and all I can say is, God damn.
I've seen things people wouldn't believe.
Alright guys, here we are doing a very quick unboxing. Special thanks to my buddy Paul for giving me a hand with the unboxing. Oh, that's not him. This is him right here. Thank you, Paul. Showing you the box. The condition of the box actually was pretty beat up. Even though I got it from my guys at Value Electronics, I did not do the QC. But it did come a little beat up. I'm just showing you a little bit. This will be a very quick unboxing, showing you what comes in the box. You have the remote. You have some cable management in the back. Very little. To me, unboxings are incredibly boring, but I will tell you this panel is gigantic. For those of you that don't think that 83 and 77 isn't a huge difference, it is massive. I've seen in the comments you guys don't think it's a huge difference. It is a huge difference. The panel is gigantic, very thin like all the rest of the OLEDs. Very, very beautiful design. LG has kept it the same way for the last few years. Now, the reason I didn't compare it to my A80, which is on the wall, which I'll show you in a second, is it's just too big. And I was pretty anxious after seeing the condition of the box. There's part of the stand to get it downstairs and get it assembled. Or get it in its rightful spot, I should say. It will come back upstairs when Paul has a moment, and we'll do a comparison there. Here's the base, very heavy, weighs about 30 pounds. There's the blade. And we'll quickly show you how to throw that together. I like the design. I like the center stand. But like a lot of these panels, having that really heavy middle, and here we are attaching it to the back, showing you the HDMI inputs. All four are HDMI 2.1. Again, very similar to last year's CX. Quickly showing you the stand. I like the stand. It's very sturdy. It's just the panel at this size, lifting it. And there's my A80. But you see, moving all that furniture and putting it down there, you can see how much space that takes up. Now here I am in my room, which is nearly done. Looks a little bit like a prison cell, but we're going for a more minimalist design. So we have some pipes and Bioshock looking stuff here. So we're going to go through the setup, leave myself in the reflection briefly. And I like LG. I like their way of doing things. I don't love their operating system all the time, but we're going to go through the very basic setup that you'll see when you pick it. You also have the AI services that you can enable. This is all the typical stuff that you typically see. Pretty basic, but I know a lot of you guys like seeing what it's like to actually start from scratch. And you have all, I'm actually going to be doing it wired, so that doesn't matter. Terms and conditions. Obviously, I have a very large light in the room. It's an industrial, like construction light, so that's not the lighting that will be in this room. And showing you how it's going to be mounted. Now the AI function, what's interesting is the Picture Pro, the Sound Pro, I turned the sound off, but you can hear a huge difference between the sound on the display. That only affects the actual display, not what goes through your eARC. But the AI Picture Pro is designed to get better as you watch. I'm not sure I buy all of that. It even says in the settings too, it doesn't affect copyrighted material, which is essentially everything that we watch. So I tend to go back and forth, enable and disable it. Now we're here going through the home screen. Home screen's a little bit different than last time. I will say here, the challenge I've had is that, it has the magic remote thing from last year, and disabling it's a pain. Turns on all my stuff, PS5 especially, but the home screen's fine. We get back, it'll show a little bit of it here. I know the unboxing was very brief, but there's very little to show you. Now, we down here in the basement, as I mentioned, and where I have it on the stand, it actually almost touches the TV. We're going to some quick demos from YouTube. Now, giving you my first impressions of the panel, the C1 at 83 inches is ridiculously vibrant. There is 2 energy saver settings in here. You have to disable them both. There's an eco and an energy saving. Disable those. But I was shocked at how vibrant the C1 is. I really expected it to be, not to say it was dim, but it was not as bright as the A80 or the A9. It didn't seem as vibrant out of the box. I always said that Sony is more complete out of the box. LG needs a little bit of messing around with. This is no different, but it does ship in standard, which is a very punchy mode. I like my images to leap off the screen at times. I'm not most ISF Pro, all that directors. I'm not super concerned with that. I like an accurate image to a degree, but I do want to see what these panels can do. But the size difference I have, again, for those of you that don't think it's a huge difference, I would say to you, seeing a 77-inch or an 83-inch in store is not the proper context. You have to actually be able to see it in your home and see how large this panel is. It is actually, my wingspan is not even as wide. I'm 6'3", so it's a gigantic display. I love how vibrant it is. It seems much brighter than my 77-inch CX and my 55-inch CX, and I would guess it's simply because of the size, but I have always thought that larger panels are brighter, just inadvertently. We're going through some of the settings here. The gaming optimizer is fine, and I'm going to switch over and turn the lights off so you can actually see the demo. I'm just sitting there chilling. So you can see some of the reflection handling on LG isn't fantastic when there is black on the screen, which is actually pretty ironic that that's the weakness with OLEDs, is when they're showing their best feature, it doesn't always look the best in a brighter room. But what's interesting is that I wasn't super excited about the C1 simply because I purchased it by default, because I need those gaming features. That's something I required. VRR, I need auto low latency mode, I need 4K 120, I need 4K 120 with Dolby Vision. Very important for me. But if you had told me that this was an A90 out of the box, I would have said yes. If you told me this was 8K, I would have been yes. It's so sharp, it's so clean, and the size is so immersive. I mean, really, really gives you that movie theater feel. What's interesting as well is when it's in widescreen, or we have the aspect ratio showing you different black bars, it looks so much more filmic because it's so large. It makes the panel look more slim. Seeing an OLED as well at 83 inches is something very elegant about it. And even though I'm around them, as I mentioned before, all the time, I spend a lot of time with the 83-inch A90, spend a lot of time with the ZX. It's not until it's in your home that you realize how beautiful a large OLED is. A lot of times larger LG LEDs or Sony's, they're so big and thick that you're like, looks a little clunky. These just look ridiculously elegant. I know my camera was a little off to the side. It was hard. The room was so dark. But this is absolutely beautiful picture quality. Now, the 83-inch and the 77-inch are EVO panels by default. LG can't exactly say that. There's been no unlocking of EVO here. I will not void the warranty. But it's really, really beautiful. Now, being that the panel is from Robert and Wendy at Value Electronics, thank you, Robert and Wendy. Love those guys. But I didn't do the QC or the calibration simply because here I am pulling the plastic off the screen for you guys. For a moment here, I actually thought I was going to pull the TV down as I passed by the camera. The reason I didn't go with the QC or calibration is that we're only a few weeks from the shootout, Value Electronics shootout in the city. These guys are so backed up with calibration. I did not want to bother with them, so I want to take a chance with the panel lottery myself. It was shipped a little beat up, but actually the panel itself is very clean. I'll do a totally separate video on that. And even though it is inadvertently an Evo panel because it is 83 inches, there is no unlocking of those features. But it is extremely bright, very vibrant. There's not one part of it that makes me think it's too dim, which I was afraid of because there was a lot of talk of the C1 being maybe not quite as bright, maybe 5% brighter. A lot of that talk, and I have not seen it here. Again, the size itself is extraordinary. It does feel like having a projector in the basement. Now, I am only about 6 feet away gaming in a gaming chair, and I am about 8.5 to 9 feet away watching films. Watch Godzilla vs. King Kong, Pacific Rim, Doctor Sleep. I've watched a lot of films. I am also using a Denon 6700H and a Dolby Atmos 4 height channels above. eARC works flawless. But I'm so impressed with it. I mean, I really am. I can't say enough about how I'm actually shocked, even though I do know the LG lineup inside and out. Something about having it in your own home. And I wish I could convey that to you guys better. The size. Many people say to me, oh, it's too big. Guys, I mean, that's all preference, but I mean, this thing is amazing. And unfortunately for many reviewers out there, even the best reviewers, the highest reviewers as far as professional, they very rarely get a panel this size to review. They're too expensive. They're too bulky. So for me to be able to do this is amazing. To have this panel, I can convey it to you that it is definitely brighter. It definitely has more vibrancy than the smaller panels. They can't confirm that because they just can't. And even the reviewers that buy things and take them back, you won't see them doing that with panels this large. One, they're way too expensive. And two, good luck sending these panels back at 83 inches. This is my personal panel, so this panel isn't going anywhere. This is my end-all, be-all that I have in my home theater. I have the A80J, 77 inches, still on the wall upstairs. That panel is not going back, guys. These are my panels. I do not return panels or buy them and review them. I just get other panels lent to me from Robert and Wendy. But other than that, the panels you see here are mine. Really, really beautiful. I mean, really, really beautiful. No raised blacks like we had with the earlier CXs. It seems like they really sorted that out towards the end of the year for the CX. Now, I imagine if this was an 83-inch CX, I'd be saying the same thing. I do think the size really does add to the punch. I'm going to say that over and over. Now, gaming on it is very sharp, very clean. Some games that aren't clean within themselves, like Metro Exodus is not a real sharp title, has a little softness to it. The game optimizer does take some getting used to. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. It locks you out of dynamic contrast. It's not as straightforward as I'd like. But the image quality is unreal. Watching something like Kong vs. Godzilla, even the filmic qualities of that really just jumped off the screen. And having the black bars and that aspect ratio completely black, it does feel like it's floating. Now we're in here just messing around from standard to cinema to the different presets. I do feel that they lowered the settings in the sense of they made less of them. I don't love that. It just seems like they consolidated a lot. I don't love the sliders with the color. I do like to be able to pick my white balance. But again, I'm still getting to know the panel in regards to the settings, but I can tell you that I absolutely love it. The C1 has been kind of the basic OLED this year. The A80, the A90 have gotten all the attention, especially from me, the G1. But it's amazing. I mean, it really is beautiful. Like I said, also in store, unless it's in Vivid, especially at value, we take them out of the box. They always don't look punchy enough. And they look dim in comparison to the other Sonys, but not when they're kind of unleashed. Meaning the energy savings, things of that nature need to be disabled. And all of a sudden it just comes to life. Really, really beautiful panel. You'll be seeing a lot more footage of it and the A80J. You will see them go head to head at some point when I'm able to get my buddy back over here. But for my first impressions, I mean, I'm really, really surprised. Again, for someone who spent a lot of time with the C1, spending time with it in your own environment, especially where you can make it completely dark, I was again blown away. Please let me know in the comments if you have any specific questions on the C1 or any other panels for that matter. I should have the X95 here in a few days. I'll be doing the Hisense dual cell later today. But, I mean, I really am impressed. And never do I feel that it's not bright enough or vibrant enough. That contrast ratio that OLEDs do possess is amazing. All right, guys, let me know what you think about OLEDs in general. Are you a fan? Do you think about Panasonic, which isn't available to us here? Do you favor one or the other? Are you an LG person that likes the C1, the BX, the A1, or are you going with Sony? For me, it was gaming, but also plenty surprised that it's as vibrant as it is. And even though it's been a default panel for me, I think it's absolutely amazing. And that's me having both CXs, 77 and 55, which I still have. All right, guys, thank you as always. Let me know what you think. I will see you in the comments. I hope all is well with all of you. Love you guys. Take care.